And let's now bring in Hassam Elsharkawi, Regional Director, Middle East, North Africa, International Federation of Red Cross, in the conversation. Hassam, thank you for joining us on CTV News Channel. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
It's not very often that that region really sees such massive earthquakes, 6.8 in magnitude. Tell us about the kind of reports that you're getting from on the ground in terms of aid that people need.
Clearly, this is a massive event, one in 100 years. There is a shell shock in the whole country, and in fact, in the wider region. We have just dealt with a massive earthquake earlier this year in Syria and Turkey. The needs are massive, and hour by hour, we are getting reports of further needs as the rescue teams access the villages, the very remote mountainous villages that are very difficult to reach because of the rock slides and the landslides. They're overwhelmed. There is a focus now, as always in these situations, on search and rescue to get to the people trapped. But in parallel, we are working on multiple fronts to focus also on the survivors who need also shelter and water and food. It's going to get cold tonight in these mountainous regions as well. So it's a race against the clock. It's a race against time in these critical hours. The hospitals are overwhelmed, and we are now trying to mobilize as much as we can to support the local responders, particularly in our case, the Moroccan Red Crescent, whose volunteers have been the first responders on the streets and since the very first hours of this earthquake, and they continue to do so. We know from these types of events, the local responders are best suited and they're the most efficient to guide the rescue teams to do the best. They know where to go. They know who's lost. They know the villages that are damaged the most. And now we're mobilizing internationally to support that effort.
At the moment, we're tracking about 1,000+ deaths, unfortunately, because of this massive earthquake. But what are your greatest fears as the search and rescue operations continue?
Let me close here. The numbers will grow. There'll be aftershocks. There'll be other types of injuries. People are digging for their loved ones by hand now in many remote locations. There'll be further collapse and further rock slides. So a focus also on the operation is also to try and prevent further injury and to provide the necessary on-the-ground first aid and emergency medical assistance immediately. The aftershocks also they rattle the operation. They stop everything. They stop the search and rescue. People will not go into their homes. They will not sleep under roofs. We've seen that again and again and again. So the psychological trauma is, of course, of tremendous impact. So we're dealing with all of these events as of course, to support the local population to cope and respond as quickly as possible.
You know, I'm just curious. Sorry, go ahead.
No, in this phase, it hasn't been 24 hours yet, and therefore it is still a situation what we call the management of chaos until the picture becomes clearer in the coming 48 to 72 hours plus.
You know, Hassam, I'm also just wondering, the areas you mentioned, Syria, Turkey, where there was also another massive earthquake, they, I would say, are better equipped to deal with, unfortunately, a calamity of this sort. But North Africa, where we are tracking this massive magnitude at the moment, are they even equipped to handle something of this magnitude?
Morocco is a strong state. It's a well-organized state.
Okay.
But an event like this overwhelms anybody, will overwhelm the most industrialized state. It's massive, and we're not going to pretend that they can handle this, of course. They're mobilizing from many parts of the country, medical teams and rescue teams and excavation equipment and ambulances and so on. And this will continue for the weeks to come. But of course, our experience shows that this isn't a week or two of response. This is a year or two of responding and helping people recover and cope with this.
What would
And
you
that's why
expect from the international community in a time like that? Because we're also speaking at a time when we have multiple leaders from G20 nations sitting together in New Delhi right at the moment. What do you expect for the international community to do?
the response, the international solidarity has been very heartwarming, even in the last few hours. And many offers of assistance from African nations, Arab nations, Europe, North America, Japan, and so on. So we're working to coordinate that, of course, to make sure that we get it where it needs to get to as quickly as possible, and also in a sustained manner. So that is happening. And this is the focus, right? It's on life-saving and the search and rescue efforts.
Right. All right. We'll have to leave it at that. But like you pointed out, of course, the next 48 hours extremely critical for the nation of Morocco. Our prayers and thoughts go out. Hassam Elsharkawi, Regional Director, Middle East and North Africa, International Federation of Red Cross. Thank you for joining us, Hassam.
Thank you.